Edinburgh Castle. This is the highest, it is the most defended part. To give you an idea, we're roughly 440 feet above sea level here at the top of an extinct volcano. We're also in a rather unique position inside the castle itself. We're between the oldest building, the 12th century St Margaret's Chapel to my right, and one of the newest buildings to my left is the Scottish National War Memorial from 1927. And we are going to move around to the front of the memorial. I'll tell you more about it when we get there. It is the chapel I'd like to tell you about, or rather the lady after who it was named. Now, Margaret was an Anglo-Saxon princess. She was unlucky. She was a princess in England in the 1060s, and I'm sure that some of you know in 1066 the Normans from the coast of France invade England and they take over the country. So Margaret flees. She gets onto a ship and heads north to Scandinavia where she has family. On her way there she's caught up in a storm and washed up on the coast of Scotland. Here she meets the king, Malcolm Canmore. They fall in love, get married and have 8 children, 6 boys and 2 girls. During her lifetime, we're not very busy raising those children. Margaret was a very pious woman. She helped pilgrims travelling through this country on their way to St Andrews, which is one of the most important religious sites in Scotland, and not just because we play golf there. St Andrews, though, lies over on the other side of the River Forth in Fife, so as well as providing those pilgrims with food, clothing and money, Margaret also helped to establish a ferry across the river for them. Unfortunately for her, her eldest son and her husband invade England, and they are both killed on the same day at the Battle of Alnwick. Margaret died just a few days after hearing the news. Here within the castle, many say of a broken heart. It is her son David that has this chapel built in her memory in the 1120s when he becomes King David I of Scotland. Then in 1296, the English invade Scotland, beginning what we now know as the First War of Independence. They capture much of the country almost straight away, including this castle, which they hold on to for 18 years. Then in 1314, Robert the Bruce, the Scottish king, decides enough is enough. He wants Edinburgh Castle back. So he goes to one of his top generals, not Mel Gibson, no, I'm afraid. He goes to Sir Thomas Randolph, his nephew. He says, can you recapture the castle for me? Sir Thomas not only says, yes, Uncle Rob, of course I can. But even though he knows that there are 300 English soldiers garrisoned here, he says that he can capture it with just 30 men. So, he and his 30 men sneak up to the north face of Castle Rock late one night, scale the walls of the rock under the cover of darkness and come over the northern defences. We think they then attack the gatehouse to allow in the rest of the Scottish army, which are camped outside. The following morning, 300 English soldiers were dead. Their bodies hurled from the walls into the marshes below, and the castle was back within Scottish hands. Then Robert the Bruce sent his nephew fresh orders. He demanded that Edinburgh Castle had to be knocked down, simply to stop the English from ever using it again. Every single wall, every single building upon this site in 1314 was levelled or damaged beyond use. Everything except St Margaret's Chapel. It's still here. It's the oldest standing building, not only within the castle, but also in the city of Edinburgh itself. Up until very recently, only serving members of the military could use it. Now anybody can. Any of you can come here, you can have your child baptised, or you can get married here. And it has one major advantage for weddings. If you are the father of the bride, it seats just 25 people. You can say. Now when it's open to the public, the doorway's around on the front, you get a great view north out over the city. We're going to move around into Crown Square, which will be the last stop on our tour. Then I'll tell you about the buildings on this. No, it's true.
23, 22, can I get one of you to come up and do it?
gather in a good semicircle, folks, just a little bit closer, thank you. It just protects me from the wind, if I'm honest. We're now in the third ward, we're now in Crown Square, and this really is the heart of Edinburgh Castle. Now the first building on the square I want to tell you about is the newest one. It is the one directly in front of me, the Scottish National War Memorial. It was built between 1923 and 1927, originally as a memorial to the Scotsmen that had died during the First World War. But after 1945 it was rededicated to the memory of those that had died in both World Wars, and from 1945 right up until the present day. When you enter, you find yourself in front of the shrine. The natural stone of Castle Rock rises up through the floor of the memorial. It's actually the highest point here on the rock. On top of that is a marble block known as the Stone of Remembrance, and atop that is a chest. That chest contains the names of every single Scotsman or woman who died during the First World War, nearly 150,000 people. Their names are replicated throughout the memorial in the books of remembrance. When you enter, you find yourself in a long hall